Chris, all set?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the March 11th, 2024 public hearing for the planning board. This meeting is audio and video recorded. It's also on Zoom, and the Zoom call-in number is 312-626-6799 with a meeting number of 940-261-24217. We'll take general business first off. And the first item of business would be for a decision for 10 Kenwood Circle. And if I could go to Department of Planning to Amy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Planning Board closed the public hearing on February 26, 2024. Below, I've listed some suggested special conditions. First one is there'll be no parking on Kenwood Circle. Also, we discussed about the applicant will work with DPW if any sign should be posted for no parking signs, but it needs to go through DPW for that. All complaints and calls will be monitored. If there were several complaints, the applicant agrees to provide a traffic study for the town's consultant to review, and that would be within 12 months. That would be the limit. After 12 months, if there wasn't any complaints, I think we would let that go. Applicant will comply with the traffic management plan, site plan dated August 31st, 2023.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Chris? No. Jay, any questions or comments in reference?
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, members Jay Mello and Mark Mucciarone are online tonight calling in via Zoom. And with that being said, I'll make a motion to approve 10 Kenwood Circle with the following proposed special conditions. As Amy noted, there'll be no parking on Kenwood Circle. The applicant will work with DPW to install signs. All complaints and calls will be monitored. If there are several complaints, the applicant agrees to provide a traffic study for the town's consultant to review within 12 months of approval. Applicant will comply with the traffic management plan, site plan dated August 31st, 2023.
Second.
I see
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Cannon's hand up. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one brief comment on special condition number 1. If it's possible, just to limit that to there be no parking of on-track vehicles or any vehicles doing business with on-track. On-track just doesn't want to be responsible for other businesses of the general public. But otherwise, everything looks great.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
That's fair.
Make a modification to condition number 1, there'll no parking for on-track or on-track related vehicles on Kenwood Circle, and the applicant will work with DPW to install those signs.
All in favor?
Roll call
Roll call.
vote.
Yep.
Jay Mello,
Yes.
Chris Stigney,
Yes.
Beth Whirling,
Yes.
Greg Rondo,
Yes.
Jennifer Williams, yes.
Okay, you're all set.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for the help with the process. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, our next discussion would be for 40 Alpine Row. If I could go to Amy with Department of Planning, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's been a proposed change basically in the facade for 40 Alpine Row. This is why it's under general business. I provided the proposed new facade that's more of a white with stone on the bottom. The plan behind that one are the darker colors that was originally approved for the plan. Design review has approved the new facade, and it's more of a recommendation towards the planning board to see how they feel about it.
Okay. Any question?
Through the chair, the height seems to have changed significantly. The previous elevation is a different style building, so the top part of the building, however you measure it, but the parapet was a lot lower than what this new elevation is showing, which has a much higher floor to floor of the from street to the second floor and to the mean roof height and overall roof at least from what I can tell. So I guess I'm just wondering if this falls within zoning bylaws, but the old building, from what I can see, the roof went to 30 feet above what they are calling 00, which I believe is street level, whereas this new building proposed is much taller than that. So I'm just looking for clarification on that.
I just want to note the applicants in the audience, if you want to come up to the table.
Actually, I had this conversation with Bob.
Could
Can
you
you-
just,
Yeah, can you come up here and
just approach the mic, give your name and address, please?
Yep.
Marcelo Alves, 8 Buffer Drive, Mendon, Mass. And in answer to that question, I'll divert the question to Robert Boynton, which is the architect on the project.
Yes, I'm Bob Boynton, 60 Phillips Street, Attleboro, Mass. Yes, I work for the architect on the project, and the proposed building is going to meet the zoning bylaw. It goes, I believe it's from the mean grade elevation to the mean roof elevation, so we will be definitely within the zoning bylaw for that district.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, you keep going.
Just, this is different than just what was approved in terms of height, which is significantly higher than the residences directly across the street. I think I would be looking for, at least from my understanding, and I would have to look back at the bylaws, but I thought it was, so the mean roof height was supposed to be taken from street level or main entry level, not necessarily basically what's the back of the building, which looks like where it was taken from, and it's to the middle of the roof. It's 46 feet 3 inches from that lower level, which means it's a little less from the street. I'm trying to understand the differences because, you know, in terms of apples to apples from what was approved before, but this is a taller building, so fundamentally it is different from what at least we saw in terms of the contextual relationship of the neighborhood, and I would be looking for sections of how this relates to the existing buildings across the street, or next door, and next door.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else on the
No,
board
I agree.
agrees, or,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. No, I agree.
Mr. Chairman, I was not part of the board when this project was approved, that I recall, and when they came, was it by right, or was it special permit, or what was?
Site plan. It was site plan.
Just a site plan?
Just site plan.
But at the time, it was approved with a, as Jen indicated, it was 30'6", and is that's from, like you're saying, Jen, is this like apples for apples, or are we
Yeah,
looking at the
it's-
same point of where you're measuring from the ground floor up to the residential roof line? It's 30'6", and then now it's showing 46'3". I mean, that's a pretty big difference.
It's a whole level difference.
Yeah.
So it's just very different in the context of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I just want to understand how these
If I-
compare.
If you don't mind, I believe the previous building was a flat roof, so it was probably measured to that flat roof elevation.
Which is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And what we have is a mansard roof, so there is some roof volume there.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind
Sure.
asking, is there, well, the facade colors itself kind of mimic a lot of what's in the downtown now. I guess, what is the reasoning for the change in the roof line?
I'll let Marcelo speak to that.
So we decided to change the roof lines because we felt that the previous approved plans, it's more like a town, well, downtown Boston building or Seaport, and we were trying to accommodate within the architecture of the town per se, as you can see on the surround homes. So that's why we changed the whole look of the building to fit more into where we're going to be building. So.
Chairman, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I appreciate that effort to make it look like it's more in the area with the coloring and the roof line, but I think to Jen's point, how does that look with the rest of the area, considering, that's maybe just a little more documentation on how it impacts the rest of the surrounding.
Certainly, we'll get right on it, and as you can see on the building itself, we have a garage under, so that 40 feet, it's from the very lower, I believe it's a very lower point. Once you get up to the upper part, we're not gonna be as tall, so maybe that's where it's kind of deceiving.
No, I know, but even, so there are obviously at every point in the building, there are different, what's grade, right? So down behind the building, it's low, and up at street level, there's what you're considering commercial grade, and then there's first floor, right? And that's the first floor of the residential 3 units. What I'm seeing is if you consider commercial grade 0, let's just say, so yeah, there's the parking low, then you're 36 feet before you hit the eave of the roof. So then it's still another, few feet, 5 feet or so, 5+ feet to the mean roof height. So it's still another, 10 feet from the eave of the roof to the top of the roof. I just want to understand where, how this is being perceived from the neighborhood. I totally appreciate the from an architecture standpoint, trying to make this fit more contextually within the neighborhood, and I appreciate that, like Beth said. I just want to make sure it's also not overwhelming and sort of massive in the way that it feels within the neighborhood, right? Beyond the architecture, in respect for the neighbors, shadows, etc., that are cast because of an increase in height. So I would like personally, I would like to see a comparison.
Do you want a cross-cut between the new concept and the existing, so you can see them left to right? The roof is definitely adding probably good 8-9 feet anyways to the structure. So you want to cross-cut through the new concept and the old, just to compare ground level to ground level?
Yeah, or even just like an overlay of the elevation, right? Like just the street elevation of what are you considering 0? Where are you considering where you're taking your dimension from, right? And how does that 0 compare to the previous 0 in relationship to the height of the parapet, in relation of the old one to the height of the eave and the mean and the top of the roof of the new proposed?
Okay.
So we can understand the difference in the volume, the mass, and especially being so close to the street edge, right? It's going to be a different experience potentially. So
I can definitely provide that for you.
thank you.
Anybody else? Jay? Questions?
No, I got nothing. I think that makes a lot of sense with the roof line. I do appreciate the effort. I do think it did look a lot out of place with the neighborhood, so I appreciate the white over the darker colors. But yeah, the roof line is definitely probably a bit much for the neighborhood, but I think the elevations will be telling, so let's look at that first.
Okay. Mark?
No, I agree with both Jen and Jay. I noticed the same thing, so I concur with them.
Okay. So I agree, and I do appreciate the change. I think it looks a lot cleaner, neater to the downtown. I think if you can just get us the documentation for the elevations from.
How would you like that to be submitted?
One more time, to Amy through Department of Planning. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, through the chair. I know one thing that came up in the previous submission was the concern for balconies looking across the street or sort of into neighbors' houses, and are the balconies overhanging the sidewalk? I think I would also like to see a comparison of sort of residential balcony height and or the relationship of the overhangs, if any, to the site boundary in the sidewalk.
Okay.
I think there's still.
Yeah, I just want to, because it came up previously, so I just want to make sure it's still
Okay.
is addressing
Okay.
prior
So do you
concerns.
want it from Alpine? I don't think the backside of the railroad tracks is
Backside
much of an
doesn't
issue.
matter,
I think
no,
if you
it's
can
the- it's the
initiate it
street
from
side, yeah.
Alpine roadside,
Yeah,
That way there
If-
it gives us the proportion to the neighbors across the street, if that makes sense.
Yeah. If I don't mind interjecting here, I don't know if there's a sidewalk along the front of the 40 Alpine building. I believe it's only landscaping
Correct.
from the original design plan.
Correct, that's correct. There's no sidewalk there.
Oh, thank you.
I can't remember the previous site plan, to be honest.
Yeah, it hangs over the roadway.
What's
It's
that?
very, it's very, it's basically going to be on the roadway side
Yeah, 'cause
with no sidewalk.
wasn't this part of the taking of that road, that it
Mhm.
was very narrow, if I remember correctly?
Yeah.
Right, I don't believe there's enough right of way to get the sidewalk in there.
through. That's why
On
we-
one of the sketches, on the previous one, it looked like there's a portion of the sidewalk along the commercial section, but it doesn't run all the way down to the garage entrance further down, so I
Correct,
forget the
yeah.
exact plans that were approved.
Yeah, I think it cut
There were
into the
sections.
property line, actually, though, okay.
Yeah, and does that, I guess I'm just wondering, is the site plan itself the same? It looks like the sidewalk may have been cut back. I just want to understand the broader kind of public pedestrian experience to this building relationship. If anything.
We didn't
changed
change
from
the
previous-
footprint from the previous design. We kept the exact footprint from the previous architect that presented the plans to the planning board.
Sure, footprint, yes, but did anything else change with the site plan, meaning pedestrian sidewalks or landscaping or, no, nothing?
No
Okay.
changes were made to the site plan at all.
Okay. Well, thank you for confirming
Okay.
that.
So, why don't we continue
Mhm.
till
Um,
25th?
Yeah, do you,
Well-
I guess, would they have plans ready by next week? Or do you
Or do you want
want
to push it
to go to April 8th? I guess.
If
Let's
you
go
want
to-
to just have a simple overlay of the, existing elevation or the previous presented elevation versus what we have, that can be put together by next week, yes.
To make a motion to continue
Yeah.
till,
Yeah, it's general business, you don't really.
oh, all right. Okay,
What do you think, though?
Next
So-
meeting?
next meeting.
Next
which
meeting.
would be
Plan for March 25th?
the 25th? Sure.
That work?
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Our next item of general business would be the meeting minutes. If everybody has read, do you have any additions or deletions to the meeting minutes for January 8th, 22nd, and 31st, 2024? If not, I make a motion to approve.
Second?
Whoop. You all right, Jay?
Yeah.
I was participating, but never mind.
Okay, well, roll call vote, now you can participate. Jay Mello.
Yes.
Chris Stickney.
Yes.
Beth Whirling.
Yes.
Greg Rondo.
Yes,
Jennifer Williams, yes.
thank you. All right. The next item of business would be a public hearing. It's a continuation for 100 to 110 East Central Street. If I could go to Amy at Department of Planning, please.
You can still go. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just kind of going over the comments from the last time they were here was February 5th, 2024. The planning board wanted to show on the plans the compared height to the new buildings of the existing buildings west of the site. That was provided the current house peak to the new house peak that's provided. I know that Jen had a comment on latitude and longitude site views. I'm not sure if that was included in the plans that were submitted. They did have increased the size of the commercial unit, and have shown that on the color renderings. And then, as well has provided the height of the retaining walls. Just want to note, they've requested 2 waivers to allow the use of the PVC and HPDE pipe for the roof drains and the underground stormwater, and allow site lightings to extend past the property line.
Okay, thank you, Amy.
We
Um,
have received, oh, sorry, one more
No,
thing.
no, go ahead.
We did receive a letter from fire, because I know that was a concern as well with the planning board, that they have provided a letter that, they've met all the requirements for fire.
Okay. Before I go to the board, Brad, you want to just introduce yourself and give us a brief update of where you are, please?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brad Chaffee, Kidford Property Group, also 110 East Central Street LLC, owner and applicant. Just to kind of piggyback off what Amy said, we did kind of all the, I can let Mr. Maglio speak as well, but we received letters from Mr. Maglio, Mrs. Love, we received it from Deputy Fire Chief Barbieri, and we just received a letter today from Beta Group. So as far as all those letters are concerned, there's no further comments. So obviously, I think everyone's still here if they want to speak to that. But just another FYI, we actually closed conservation the other night last week. And just kind of a general update of what I provided new tonight from just the last time. So I did, as far as the rendering goes, we did add a little patio to the front. We did increase the commercial size, pretty much taking up that whole side. So it's 1,000 square feet, but it was only 500 before, so we little patio on that, so actually made it something that would be a lot more usable. So that's reflecting the rendering. As far as the elevations go, now that we're warmed up for that, so this is the street side elevation. You'll also notice on the actual site plan that we have 2 elevations in the actual slab. So this building, looking at street side, going from right to left, steps down 3 feet in the middle. So, as you guys know, Route 140 is on a hill and a curve, so this building actually steps down and bumps out with the road, just to try to keep the left side, you know, I guess, lower in height. So as far as 3 stories goes, we'll be under that threshold, and I think this kind of just gives you a good idea of the existing houses, surrounding houses, in the newly proposed. So that was kind of what I got out of the last meeting. I apologize if there was anything else I need to provide for that. I also, just other requests that we had from the board in the last meeting. I was asked, just from the couple other projects we've done, just to get Tetra Tech to give us do a traffic assessment, do a letter, so I actually provided that as well. Without kind of getting into all the details of that, on their first page, they kind of give you the summary, and then they say these are minor traffic increases and don't anticipate any noticeable impact to future traffic operations or surrounding roadways. But they have all the data in that to provide based on all the stuff going on, proposed and existing. I met with a couple of others. So, ones that we had last time, met out in the field, I got some other calls, so I was able to talk to them just about drainage, any other concerns, so I think everyone was, felt a lot better just to understand what was going here. I think that's generally it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. I'll go to Mike at DPW. Mike, I didn't see a letter from Mike, I apologize if it was out there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was late. It was just, I submitted that letter late, that's why it was probably not in your packets. I didn't get a chance to look at the initial submission of plans, but this most recent revised set, I did look through those, and it looks like the second time around they already addressed any other comments I may have had in the initial set. So the only thing I really had is just that they would have to apply for the typical DPW permits as they normally do, and you can handle any work within the right of way through the DPW permits with the sidewalk and driveway entrances as on the other similar projects. But there was really nothing outstanding I had.
Good. And I believe, I just saw Beta's report earlier, so I apologize, I didn't get a chance to read through the whole thing, but Gary, I believe Gary did the review of this, right?
Yeah, he should be online.
Gary, you out there? I don't see him.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to speak for
Sure.
Gary, but I did have a conversation with him on Friday about the project and what he was with his review, and I think he said he just had a couple outstanding comments that basically just notes that need to be added to the plans. I think they addressed all those previous ones. I just, looking at his comments here, one comment was on a detail sheet 9 should indicate the minimum depth of the sand fill beneath pond 2 should be 2 feet, and then maybe another 1 or 2 comments like that, just clarifications on details.
Okay.
If that's helpful.
I apologize, but I didn't see the traffic report. Did you? In the packet?
It's in the online,
Okay.
at least, I don't.
All right, so we'll have to
I
look
thought
through
your
it. Okay.
visible one in the correspondence.
All right, well, I'll hang tight. Let's go to the board first, if anybody has any questions or comments. Go for you. I'll start with Chris, if you want to go first, or if you...
Thanks, Brent. No, appreciate the revisions. Happy that the parking stayed at over the 1.5, given the commercial component, and increasing that square footage there to hopefully attract a nice quality tenant to connect downtown to the Big Y Shaw's area. So overall, very pleased. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Beth? Nope.
When
Yeah.
we're done, I don't
Jen?
need a second chance.
Through the chair, I just want to clarify, I was looking for a transverse and longitudinal section, which you did provide in a section through the street and front elevation. Yeah, so it's not transverse, but at least it's the full length of the site in relation to the neighbors on either side, which I appreciate, and knowing the grade, don't think that a section cut through the site north-south matters much, because of the grade changes and the fact that this is facing north. So shadows will be cast behind, which you have all parking and trees. So thank you, though, for providing the comparison to neighbors on either side. It's very helpful. I mean, I don't have much more to add than that.
You ready? You sure? Okay.
On the traffic study that you provided, has Beta taken a look at that at all, or is anyone planning to look at it, or?
At this time, we have not asked Beta to look at it. The board, if they would like Beta to, we can have
I
them
think just
review it.
a general summary of what they think. I mean, say,
Yeah,
Brad,
why
if you have a little bit more detail on what they reviewed, or could give us a little bit more of an explanation other than a couple more cars on the road.
I try my best.
Okay.
Yeah.
If not, you know, you know,
Yeah,
it's,
I mean,
you know,
I can certainly tell you, their conclusion on trips,
yep.
if that helps. So
Sure.
we basically did the same, sorry, is that okay? Okay, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. Basically, so they approximate 92 vehicle trips on a typical weekday, 8 to 10 vehicle trips in the morning and peak hours. So it's essentially what you're looking at for volume in between, morning and I guess evening. I think the peak hours on this chart are like 5:30 to 6:30. So we took into account 100 East Central Street. We also took into account proposed 94 and 70. Tetra Tech did those letters as well. So they have all the data, all the information, and they've been building off it. That's why I stayed with them as well. So, yeah, I mean, most of what's in that letter, we have a breakdown of all that, but that's really the general. So depending on what it is, that includes an increase in commercial, but it's 8 to 12 trips at peak hours. That's what you're gonna see. So that's why I guess they consider that minor. It's about as expert of a
I mean, I think it sounds reasonable. 8 peak, and what did you say the AM and PM peak hours were?
So
Considered?
they have, I'll have to look, but I believe that I want to say they have it on one of the charts. I want to say it's, I think it's like 5:30 to 6:30 on the weekday, and I believe in the morning, I think it's like 6:30 to 7:30. So it's. They have that in the report. To be honest with you, I printed out the first 5 pages because it's a little longer, but I'll leave it up to the experts to let me know if they use the.
I was just saying, through the chairman, I think in consistency for what we ask of all applicants and review by Beta for traffic reports, I think just to be consistent, we
Sure.
should have them take a look at it as well. And appreciate the renderings and adding additional space for the retail as well as a patio outside. Fingers crossed, Brad, that you can get somebody that will utilize the patio.
We did this. This was nice. It looks good. I was
Yes.
happy with that.
Yep, yeah, it's looking good, and, it looks decent. And the updates you've made have met the questions we've had, but I guess just, those few remaining items, as well as looking at the traffic, would make me feel better.
No problem.
You want Beta to review it? Okay.
That's just my opinion. If everybody else doesn't agree, that's fine.
Okay. Is the patio's right to the left on main entrance?
Yes, that's correct. It's a small patio.
You know what I'm getting to. Cars seem to like driving through things lately,
Oh, bollards?
possibly some kind of heavy-duty light
Trying to think of
bollard
something, yeah.
or some architectural, but when you're coming off 140 and somebody's gonna come flying in that spot, we don't want somebody sitting out there and getting clipped. I would think, look into some kind of nice architectural bollard at
Yeah.
least of some sort.
Okay.
If you
Planter,
could.
planter.
Something
Yeah.
of substance.
Yeah, we can put
Not
something.
a house either.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
An additional unit, just put it right there.
Yeah, that's the cat in the bag in the next
That's all we have.
conversation. So, is everybody, I'll go to, Jay.
First off, glad to see this is kind of moving forward. And also on that, the retaining wall that I was concerned about along the street seems to have been eliminated. That was the one that was going to be up against the drainage system. So I think that's pretty much takes care of that concern. Just with the rest of the retaining walls, I know this was a concern of yours, Mr. Chairman. Has that been addressed and met? Just so you're feeling comfortable. I didn't see anything particular in the letter concerning them, so I just wanted to make sure that.
I have that on my list, don't worry.
Okay, that was it. That's all I got.
Okay,
Thank you.
yep, thank you. Okay, Mark, any comments, questions?
Yeah, again, I appreciate how this design looks. I think it blends in with the rest of the area there. I had a question in regards to, I see that obviously the commercial space was expanded, but how about dedicated parking for that commercial space? Is that a consideration? I mean, we're at 1.5 with everything, but if you have a shop owner and patrons, where are they gonna park?
Brad?
Sure. Yep. So in front of 100 East Central Street, I thought was the most logical place for that, just because it's obviously closest walking distance. And I think having just the residents park around the rear is just nice to have those back there. So that was my thought process. I'd have to look on the side. I believe it's eight spots in the front.
Yep.
So that's
My second, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no. That was
My second question would be the parking. You have 2 spots for people with disabilities.
yes.
Are they gonna be for the residents, or are they gonna also be for patrons also?
Would be for both.
I don't think it'd be fair. I don't think it would be fair for the residents to have to do without if we have people visiting that commercial space.
Nope. Those will be for both. And just that the access to that commercial unit is from the rear of that building along the side.
So they're gonna be shared,
Correct. Yes.
okay? No, I kinda have an issue with that. But however, lighting, I was looking at lighting, there's only gonna be 1 pole out in the back parking lot? Is that enough with the pot lighting off the buildings? And will it spill over to the residents?
We did have a photometrics done by SK and Associates for us to go through that, so, I mean, from the plan that they drew, we didn't have any light spillage. The only light spillage that we requested and we discussed in our last meeting was on the front side at 140, because I wanted to keep that area bright. But everything that has light spillage, that had to do any butters in the rear, there isn't any. And we do, I guess another reason why we have that pole kind of in the middle there.
Okay. So that's gonna be enough lighting for that area at night?
Yeah, yep. I mean,
All right, I didn't see it on the plan, that's why I was asking.
oh, sorry, yeah, there's a photometric on the last page of the site plan.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yeah,
can
they're good. I guess that's all.
Mark, just to add on to what you were saying, Brad, just make sure that photometric plan gets included in the plan set. It's, I know you had it in the last one, but it's not in this one.
Oh, it didn't
It didn't
incorporate
ca-
it.
Yeah, it didn't carry over.
Okay,
Yeah,
now I understand.
sorry, Mark. didn't
Sorry about that,
interrupt
Mark.
ya.
Okay.
No, no,
Nope.
thank you.
Well, that would make
Thank
sense
you.
why you didn't see it.
Also,
And,
just building on what Mark is saying, I do think it's a little bit of a tough ask for someone who requires an ADA spot to, in terms of equitability, to relationship to main entrance, to have them go all the way, you know, into the site, back to the parking lot, come back and park in the back of the building, to then have to traverse the front of the building to get to the commercial destination. So if there's any way to, have a spot, whether it's shared or not, but at least have it be, more visibly obvious for someone who's trying to get to that front door to be able to park. Unless you're saying that all the commercial parking is in the back of that building and none of it is for the apartment building, the existing apartment building. Like, are you gonna have signage that directs commercial patrons to the back of the building so that they don't park in those 8 spots that are affiliated with that other existing apartment building?
I will have to dedicate spots probably, just because of just what's there, even though during the day, I think that's when, you know, hopefully there'll be some open
Yeah, there's
parking
obviously
in that. And
right.
yeah. When we went through the design on this, a challenging part of the site is due to that cross slope.
Yeah.
So as we go higher, if we put an ADA accessible parking spot in front of the existing building, we have to come across that driveway. And I think when you start getting into the cross slopes of that, I think was part of the issue. So kind of when we go on the site front to back, right, we have that ability to stay under all the 521 CMR, you know, CMR requirements. So to try to put it in the front over there, I'm not sure if we can do it with the grade.
Right, so I guess there's the question is then, will you be providing signage of some sort to direct
You know,
commercial patrons to the back?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Maybe it's a non-issue, but
I'm-
otherwise people are gonna be traversing that drive as cars are pulling in to, I'm not talking accessibility now, I'm just strictly talking access for everyone.
I'm happy with any recommendations. If you guys, I mean, I don't necessarily have every answer, so you know, if you guys have I'm happy to dedicate certain spot. You know, like.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind me asking.
Go ahead.
Brad, did I hear you say that the access to that retail space is in the rear of the building?
So the accessible route to the actual building itself
Yeah.
is from the rear.
I mean, into the space, is there a back door that you can go in through?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
would that be something that could be accommodated if, you know, I'm just looking at where the space,
Yeah, there should
that
be.
ADA space is
Yep.
into the building?
Yes.
Is that like, I know most rear house buildings have like storage and whatnot, but is
Yep.
there a pathway that could be made maybe to easily access the building from that door?
Absolutely. That'll have almost like a little vestibule in it.
Yeah.
100%. So that's the way it. So there will be thank you. There'll be almost I'll say a main entrance to, if someone were to park there, you can go through the building. So there's going to be a main hallway. You know, there'll be a locked door in front of you, and to the left would be an entrance to the actual commercial space. This commercial space goes front to back.
So they don't
Yeah.
have to come all the way
Gotcha.
around the front of the building?
Yeah,
to
sorry.
go
No,
around?
no,
That-
no.
That's what I
They
thought you were
could if
saying.
they wanted to go on the patio. Sorry,
But
yeah, that'd be a long way.
I think to answer Jen's question is that the
Um,
spaces in the rear.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
can
they're
access.
they're still accessing the commercial space from right there. They don't
Everything's
have to go
accessed from
around the
that door.
building to
Yes.
get to it, okay. Got it, thank you.
Sorry, I'm thinking everyone's going to the
Yeah.
patio. In my mind, so I'm just.
Because if you just had the 500 square feet, they'd be accessing potentially just the front of the building, not the rear, which you'd have to provide access through anyway, so.
So they would have gone
Yeah.
either that or the hallway would have that they
Correct.
entered wouldn't have been as
You
much of a
divided
vestibule.
the space in
Exactly.
half.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I do think to Mark's point that there should be handicap both, kind of, like if there's only one spot for both commercial and all the residential in that one building, that could be challenging potentially, depending on what the commercial use is. It looks like you have the space to potentially have two there, or sign one as
We kind of just put the sign. It's still, I mean, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's still thousands.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I would look into a second one though,
Yeah.
because within the building, you're gonna want one,
Okay.
just in case. Because you're gonna have, number of units and then the commercial space. I would
Sure.
definitely look into the
Yeah.
second one.
Okay.
I think Gus may, building commission may look for that as well.
Okay. So,
You good? Good. I just had a few comments and questions, if, you don't have to answer them now, but,
Sure.
retaining walls, obviously. You got some pretty high walls. I saw it was just gonna made out of, I think you said stone, with some kind of data on it, because I think you got anywhere from, what, 8 to 13 feet or 14 feet in walls. I'd like to see something prior to these drawings. Obviously, we're having some issues with retaining walls in town, and I wanna make sure this is on the front end, that there's no surprises, and that Beta's gonna wanna review the installation with the structural engineer as well. But I like to see products, now that we're seeing more of these, I wanna see products up front, whether it's a ideal block, whatever it may be, Versalock. I see just a stone, I see Versalock, I see other stone. I like to see these as part of the drawings and itemized to each one, so when Beta goes out to review, they know exactly what they're looking at as well. And I do see on the elevation, got a pretty substantial height change between the existing and the proposed. Almost a full floor.
yes.
Because the brick building, well, it's a bit of a distance away, but that road drops really substantially in this distance. What's it gonna do with the neighbor's house? Because now you have that one dwarf neighbor to the left of the building, as by his lonesome self here. I don't know, I'm just, and you're what, 15 feet, 20 feet at best off the road, the edge of the road, if I remember correctly? Just a pretty good jump right there, height-wise.
Yep.
I
I
just,
think this is the spot in
asking.
town to have the density on a main road like this and the height. I think it's appropriate. This is,
just don't want
Yeah.
to dwarf, and that's all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
bringing
yeah.
a point.
No, appreciate it.
Mhm.
Putting the 3-foot step in the middle of the building was, that's not necessarily a fun thing for us to build that way, but I think it was important to step that down to really lessen at least one side of it.
Concrete flows, yeah, I know. Okay, so that, snow storage, I didn't see it on the drawing, but it's not to say I missed it, if it's not on there. Rick, did you put it on the drawings, the snow storage?
I saw it.
You did see
Yes,
it?
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, we did.
What page is that on? I just missed it, I'm sorry.
I believe it was on the landscaping page.
Was it?
Page 5.
5. And we did call out for the different types of walls, but we can make that more pronounced. Wall 5 is a segmental block wall, like a Versalock wall, the big one. The other walls are to be the field stone, but we can demarcate that on each wall section if you prefer, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, all right, I see a little spot there, okay. My apologies. Okay. Yeah, the retaining walls, definitely want to see something of a design aspect from the structural engineer, so we can incorporate it in the drawings as well. And then the big question would be, and I don't need an answer tonight, but I want everybody to think, he's looking for 20 units, but it's only allowed 10. So we don't need it now, but I want everybody to think for the next meeting. Okay? Okay? Good? Anything else? Anybody in the audience?
Just one quick comment. I think there's been a lot of approvals of housing developments in town that are in far greater scale to this building in locations that maybe aren't really the greatest location for it. And along with what Jen is saying, I don't think this one appears to be out of character with what you're trying to do, and the fact that it has a design element to it that is mimicking surrounding buildings. I appreciate helping to break up the aesthetics of it as one solid facade, like we're seeing these boxes coming in with no character. So I appreciate this design, And I'll just note that I appreciate the folks from Alpine Place coming in and taking a look at materials and facade on that one too. So the design elements for this particular project are not lost on me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure everybody was
Yeah.
aware. I saw it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't
It
think,
caught my
yeah.
eye too,
yeah.
so I just want to make sure everybody else saw it.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess we continue to, well, you gotta have Beta's review. We're gonna look through Beta's stuff. What do you think, Amy?
I think if we're sending it for a traffic review, it's not gonna be able to be done by the 25th, so
Okay, so you wanna just
the
go to the
meeting
next
after
meeting
that
and
would
then-
be April 8th.
All right, so we'll go to April 8th then. Make a motion to continue 100 to 110 East Central Street to April 8th.
Second.
All in favor? Roll call?
We'll call, Jay Mello,
Yes.
Chris Stickney,
Yes.
Beth Whirling.
Yes.
Greg Rondo,
Yes.
Jennifer Williams, yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One more.
Yep. And then, last item of business tonight would be a continuation of a public hearing for Maplegate South. If I could go to Amy, please, Department of Planning.
They've requested to be continued tonight. They are not at this meeting. There were some outstanding issues that they still want to address before they present to the board. They did request March 25th. It's up to the board if they want to do March 25th or April 8th.
Make a motion to continue Maplegate Solar South to March 25th.
Second.
All in favor? Roll
We'll
call?
call Jay Mello,
Yes.
Chris Stickney,
Yes.
Beth Whirling,
Yes.
Greg Rondo,
Yes.
Jennifer Williams, yes.
Okay. Anybody have any general comments? Any general comments, Jay, or?
I got nothing.
Mark? Nothing? Make a, go ahead.
As a part, and you're probably gonna say the same thing, as a master plan committee, there's an open house for everybody in the community to come to Dean College and give input on the town master plan. All of the subcommittees will be there for sort of an engagement session, walk around. There'll be fun activities. There will be, 11 to 3, Amy?
Yes.
11 to 3, there'll be refreshments, food served, because it's over lunchtime. If that's enticing, for people who have kids, there will be sort of a kids table so that they can stay busy, so parents can come. And being a Saturday, we're hoping that makes it a good opportunity for people to stop by who might otherwise be busy on weeknights. So please put it in your calendars, tell all your friends, and it should be fun.
What was that
It
date?
should be.
The 23rd.
It's Saturday, March 23rd.
Yeah.
23rd.
Yep, it'll be at Dean, the Alumni Memorial
One of
Conference
the
Room.
rooms is a part of the big.
60 School Street, so like parking's on the street, parking at the library, parking amongst the other streets.
Is that the big main brick building?
It
So-
is.
Yeah.
And it's a side
Yes.
entrance, like near the gym.
Okay.
Next to the
Off of
gym.
School Street.
Screw. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they share the same entrance to the gym, and then we're right in there. We're gonna be
There will be a
doing,
site plan provided showing entry and which building
Yep.
it is and which room it is. Because
Yep.
Great.
campuses can be a
That's
little
good.
confusing for
keep
people.
watching our social media, emails. We're coming up with a lot more information on the events. We're putting together a lot of stuff, so it should be really exciting.
Great.
Okay, good.
And we need our residents' feedback.
Yes.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Jay Mello,
Yes.
Chris Stickney,
Yes.
Beth Whirling,
Yes.
Greg Rondo,
Yes.
Jennifer Williams, yes.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the
All right.
night.